Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and it is Sunday, December 29th, and it's 11:40 p.m. I just uploaded a video that contains the Q post from today, and now we're going to just pick up from where I left off and continue on, not with the Q post because we have finished those in the last video, but with some different news items and items of interest. So let's go over there now and get to it. Alrighty. And I've got a bunch of different things here, and they're all really recent, so I'm just going to start anywhere, and we'll see how far we get. I guess I will continue until I am too exhausted to continue longer. All right, let's, okay. Hope you're all doing well. All right, this is from Greg. This is from on Twitter. The FBI never took possession of the hacked DNC servers, and why wouldn't they? Really, why wouldn't they? Because they knew they weren't hacked. That's why. They took a Ukrainian DNC vendor's word, CrowdStrike, that it was Russians. Does that make sense to you? Doesn't make any sense to me why the FBI would not have taken those servers, examined them, whatever, and why they would take a Ukrainian DNC's vendor's word that it was the Russians. Why would they do that? Well, we know, don't we? When this false narrative finally falls, it'll be game over. And up here, this is a sentence that a lot of people write on their Twitter and Facebook and so forth. His name was, I am a little hesitant to say the full name because YouTube does not like that name. Can't imagine why. All right, so let's take a look at this. And this is a Q post that we've already looked at. This was from yesterday. And it says, hi, my name is, but you probably know me as Russia. Yeah, right. That's who they blamed it on. We knew who it was. And this is a picture of him in patriotic gear. And beneath that, Q says Patriot Q. And again, dead DNC staffer had contact with WikiLeaks. According to the Drudge Report, we now know this is true. So I thought that was good. Just a little reminder, and let's go back because we've got lots of stuff to get into here. And let's take a look at this. This, I think you're going to find pretty gobsmacking. I know, I probably use that word way too much, but I like that word. Now, let me just pause this for a second. It says, rewind to the Herald, May 2nd, 2000, Prince Andrew dating Ghislaine Maxwell. What? Bush Jr. and Les Wexner. What? Let's take a look. Well, let's take a listen, rather. All right. And hopefully, let me make this bigger so that you can see it. It's only 48 seconds long, but I know you guys on your tiny little phones won't be able to see it.
Herald, May 2nd, 2000. Prince Andrew dating Ghislaine Maxwell. I hadn't heard that one before. Prince Andrew is whining and dining Ghislaine Maxwell, the daughter of the late media tycoon Robert Maxwell, the New York Post reported Friday. The newspaper said the two tried to avoid the prying lenses of the photographers after lunch Thursday at Nello's on Madison Avenue. The paper said the prince is trying to keep a low profile there on, which will be coming from Columbus, where he will hold a fundraiser at the home of clothing company executive Les Wexner tomorrow evening. George W. Bush held a fundraiser at Les Wexner's house in 1999. Wasn't Epstein still in charge of Les Wexner's money and shit at that point? That's interesting. Herald, May 2nd, 2000.
So it's starting over there now. Yeah, that's interesting is an understatement. That's really interesting. And I have not heard this from anyone else or anywhere else. But according to this, on May 2nd, 2000, they were dating. And President Bush Jr. held fundraising event at the house of Les Wexner. Well, we know that name because it was Lex Wexner that gave Epstein, yes, I said gave Epstein, that home in Manhattan, the largest private home in Manhattan. So, yeah. And also, he was, Les Wexner also gave Epstein Island. Yeah. Gee. If you don't find that interesting, you got to check your pulse. All right. Now, let's go back because there's more where that came from. All right. Now, let's look at this. Assange hinted back in January 2017 at the possibility of the FBI, DHS being deliberately misleading in their joint report about the DNC hack. Let's listen. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I will make it bigger for you guys, but I am going to play it in its entirety.
Released a joint report detailing how federal investigations and investigators linked the Russian government to the hacks of the Democratic Party organization. And they gave a 13-page memo. I'm sure you've read it.
I have read it indeed.
At this point, okay. Supposedly they give technical details regarding tools and some of the infrastructure of the Russian civilian and military intelligence, but they don't give any proof positive.
They give the five-page description of some of the tools that they allege that the Russian state uses. The rest is just fairly boring security recommendations. On the top, there is a disclaimer saying nothing.
I was going to ask you about that.
Guarantee that any of this information is accurate.
Right. It's a guess.
So it's just you're looking at. I used to be a computer security expert. That was my job. This is a bad report, and you look in the rest of the computer security community, you'll see dozens of other computer security experts in the United States. Absolutely not.
Isn't it contradicted though by our own director of intelligence, national intelligence,
James Clapper?
That's James
Well,
Clapper.
there's nothing in that report that says that any information was given to us. Nothing. What they have is what they call indicators. So like a way to recognize if these tools, these alleged Russian tools, have been used on your system. Okay. So in response to that, some engineer at one of the US electricity companies found his signature on one of their laptops. Okay. So then this was analyzed by a wide range of US computer security experts. I've read those reports in detail. And it's discovered that this is a commercially available tool produced by Ukraine. So it's straight out of the bat. We either have a deliberate attempt to mislead or thoroughly incompetent work.
Interesting. We either have a intentional, they were either intentionally and deliberately trying to mislead, or it was gross incompetence. Well, I don't think it was gross incompetence. I think it was a deliberate attempt to mislead. Obviously, they knew. All right, now let's go back because we can. And let's look at this. Now, this is interesting as well. Report shows Joe Biden stole $140 million from the federal treasury, transferred the money to Rosemont Seneca, purportedly for bank bailouts, then to his personal account in the Caymans. That's okay. He's running for president? Yeah. So what do you think he'd do as president if that's what he did as VP? Yeah. What does he want? He wants to become president so he can steal the rest? 140 million transferred to Rosemount Seneca for bank bailouts, then straight into his personal account in the Cayman Islands. Let's listen to this. It's 43 seconds long.
Joining us this hour, I'm Jennifer Franco. A new report reveals more evidence of corruption.
I do apologize because the volume is not very loud, and I can't do anything about that. I've got everything up to the max, so hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
Corruption by Hunter and Joe Biden. According to the Washington Examiner today, investment firm Rosemont Capital received $130 million in federal loans during Joe Biden's tenure as vice president. The money was routed from the U.S. Treasury through an offshore in the Cayman Islands and reportedly went to the company for the purpose of bailing out struggling banks. Rosemont Capital represented Hunter Biden in his Ukraine dealings, allegedly receiving multi-billion-dollar payments from the energy company Burisma. That report suggests that the Bidens used bailouts for personal gain while ordinary Americans were going bankrupt.
Yeah, ordinary Americans were going bankrupt, and they were using the federal money from the federal treasury as for their own personal gain. Yeah, he's fit to be president. Sure he is. Not in this country. Not in any country, really. All right. Let's go back because there's more interesting tidbits to get to. Tasty tidbits, you can't have just one. No, you can't. All right, now this, the man in the high castle. This is very interesting. Yeah, former Nazi George von Holtzbrink founded his publishing empire in 1948. So 1948, this former Nazi creates his publishing empire. Then who does it go to? 70 years later, each of them received their quid. Okay, look at this. Hang on. It goes from him to Pearson and Macmillan, which are tied together. One run by John Fallon, CEO, Pearson, who resigned, and John Turner, Sargent, CEO of Macmillan. Okay, so it goes to them. And then 70 years later, each of them received their quid pro quo book deal from his empire. Yes, look. Obama gets $65 million book deal. Biden gets $15 million book deal. Comey gets $2 million book deal. Brennan, $1 million. McCabe, $1 million. Romney, $1 million. So the big dog, Obama, gets 65, and then the next one's Biden, and then from there it's all downhill. Comey, Brennan, McCabe, and Romney only get $1 million. Yeah, just $1 million. A measly $1 million. Chump change. So, yeah. Gee, nothing suspicious there. No, not at all. Okay. Let's come back over here and come down. I was already there. I don't know why I moved away from it. And let's come down to the next very tasty tidbit. Let's look at this. Tell me if you all aren't gobsmacked after this. Who is this? Why that's, I think that's Isaac Cappy. And who's he with? Laura Loomer. Huh. Interesting that they were friends. Don't you think? I'm just saying. Now, the reason I think this is interesting, not because I think that there's anything nefarious there between those two, not at all. But we know that there's no way he commits suicide. I don't care. The whole story does not make sense from the start to the finish. And I'm not going to get into that because that I've already touched on in other videos, and there are many videos out on YouTube. If you are not aware of the story behind Isaac Cappy, there are plenty of YouTube videos to choose from. So I'm not going to get into that, but he did not commit suicide in my view. I don't think anybody that has a logical brain in their head would come to the conclusion that he commits suicide. But he did have a lot of knowledge. He was talking about the pedophiles in Hollywood and so forth, and he was friends with Laura Loomer. So was he passing this information to her? I don't know, but it would make sense. And they're both Jewish. Not that that means anything, but maybe he trusted her because she was Jewish and of the same faith. I don't know, but it's evident that they knew each other. So there you go. I just thought that was extremely interesting. Maybe you don't, but I bet you do. Okay, now let's come down to this. Another, I was going to say tasty tidbit, but no, this is not a tasty tidbit, but it's a necessary one. Says the programming of little children to accept perversion is in full swing. The toy companies putting out this trash should be permanently boycotted. I agree. Now, what are they talking about? Let's come down here. And first you have these two dolls. Obviously, both. I mean, you've got her dressed in little pink clothes here, this doll. The blonde hair, long, very feminine face, but has a penis. How did that happen? Looks like a girl doll to me. The face is very feminine. The eyebrows are very feminine. The eyes, the hair has a little outfit in pink. So all indications would be that this is a female doll. But imagine your child's surprise when she undresses the doll to put a different piece of clothing on it and says, "What the heck is that?" And over here we look at, this looks like a Bratz doll. Obviously looks very female. The eyebrows, the eye makeup, and so forth, the tiny nose, the bone structure looks female by every indication. My cat is gonna give me a heart attack because she's jumping on top of my china cabinet again. Oy. But when you lift up her skirt, what does she have? A penis. Right. Are they trying to confuse our children? Yes. Yes, they are. And then look at over here. Barbie Baphomet. Can you believe that? I found it very hard to believe, and yet there it is. Barbie Baphomet. Of course, Baphomet is, which is interesting because it is symbolic of the devil, and it is a hermaphrodite. It is both male and female with male parts and female breasts. Interesting that we have a huge trend of transgenderism happening when Baphomet is actually transgender. Well, definitely a hermaphrodite anyway. So you've got Barbie Baphomet, and you can see the hands, you can see, I mean, the goat head, the star. I mean, it's Baphomet. Do you want your kids playing with that? I hope you say no. What about your grandkids? You want them playing with it? It's only fit to be burned. That's it. So, you know, I'm just going to pause the video for a minute because my cat is about to give me a heart attack and things are about to crash. So let me just pause this for a minute and I will be right back. If I can figure out how to pause it. There we go. And I'm back again. And, you know, just so you know, there was nothing broken in the making of this video yet. All right. Let's come back over here and let's hit on this. Let me see. You know what? Some of this might not be as, oh, yes. You've probably heard this, but in case you haven't, here we go. Just in, a third Kevin Spacey accuser is found dead. Boy, it's getting just as bad. If you're accusing Kevin Spacey of something, I mean, that's just as bad as accusing Hillary Clinton. You're just going to wind up dead. This is awful. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. Another alleged Kevin Spacey victim has died, bringing the total of dead Spacey accusers to 3 in only 1 year. There's only one family we know of that rivals Spacey's curious record. Yeah. To date, Spacey, an Oscar-winning actor, has been accused by more than a dozen men of sexual misconduct. He's also been a guest at the infamous Island. You know. On Christmas Day, Danish author Ari Ben committed suicide, according to Fox News. Ari Ben, a former member of Norway's royal family who was one of Kevin Spacey's sexual assault accusers, died by suicide on Wednesday, his manager said. He was 47. Very sad. The successful Danish author was married to Norway's Princess Martha Louise between 2002 and 2017. They have 3 daughters, the youngest of whom is 11. In December 2017, Ben came forward to accuse Spacey, 60, of groping him under a table at a Nobel Peace Prize concert in 2007. Spacey never responded to that allegation and could not immediately be reached for comment. Well, of course he couldn't. Ben, who would have been about 30 when the molestation occurred, is just the latest alleged victim to die. In September, an anonymous massage therapist who claimed to have been sexually assaulted by Spacey died. The individual suing as a John Doe filed claims in September 2018 with the allegation of being forced to grab the actor's genitals twice during a massage 2 years earlier at a private residence in Malibu. In May, a federal judge in California allowed the case to move forward despite Spacey's objection that the plaintiff's identity was being shielded. Only 1 month after the parties came to a plan for proceeding in the suit that detailed prospective discovery and envisioned a 7 to 11 day trial, the plaintiff's attorney informed Spacey that the client recently passed. Nothing suspicious there. So, the individual suing his untimely death was to his family a devastating shock that they are struggling to process and is so recent that they have not yet held his funeral service, the alleged victim's attorney, Jeannie Harrison, told Hollywood Reporter. Out of professional responsibility, we notified Spacey's counsel of Mr. Doe's passing. We explained our intent to allow his family more time to get past their immediate paralyzing grief and began settling his affairs before we filed a death notice with the court, which is our prerogative as his counsel. Spacey ignored our request for compassion and filed the notice yesterday without our consent. Well, naturally, he would. In July 2019, Vanity Fair reported about another accuser, a busboy working at a Nantucket bar, who withdrew his sexual assault case against the powerful actor. Spacey was charged with felony indecent assault and battery after allegedly groping a then 18-year-old busboy at a restaurant in July 2016, USA Today reports. The withdrawal, filed in Nantucket Superior Court, did not reveal if any kind of settlement had been reached between Spacey and his accuser. The lawsuit was also dropped with prejudice, meaning it can't be refiled, though Spacey will still have to contend with criminal charges of indecent assault and battery. Spacey pleaded not guilty to the charges in January. In May, a woman who accused Spacey of sexual harassment of one of her patients died after being hit by a car. A woman who allegedly accused Dr. Kevin Spacey of sexual harassment was found dead after being struck by a car in Quincy, Massachusetts on February 25th while crossing a parkway. The Patriot Ledger reports that Linda Culkin, 59, was crossing Bergen Parkway after she was hit with a car, with Police Sergeant Karen Barkis stating that Culkin was crossing while the traffic light was green. The driver tried to avoid her and, as a result, hit another vehicle head-on. No charges were filed against the driver. Culkin was a nursing assistant who was reportedly obsessed with Spacey and had threatened to kill the actor, according to prosecutors. She sent bomb threats to 2 of Spacey's workplaces and also sent threats to his co-workers and associates. Radar claims that her threats to Spacey and his team began after one of Culkin's patients told her about allegedly being attacked by Spacey. He gets around, doesn't he? Yep. Well, birds of a feather flock together. They sure do. And I'm not touching on this tonight, but it is a tragedy what happened in Texas today. Absolute tragedy. Was this meant to distract us from something? I don't know. But thank the Lord that there were people in that congregation. If you're going to do a mass shooting, don't do it in Texas. Everybody's armed. Not everybody, but a lot of people are. And thankfully so, because they are the ones that stopped the shooter. This could have been so much worse. I believe 2 people have died. One is in critical condition. So yeah, it's awful. Our prayers and thoughts are with the family and friends. But this could have been so much worse. So yeah. Probably the mainstream media won't dwell on it too much because it's a positive example of why you need to carry a weapon. It's sad that you're not safe in a place of worship anymore. Very sad. All right, and let's look at this. Let me see. I am just kind of, oh yeah, this is interesting too. Some of this news I had from before, so it's getting a little bit old, and I don't want to be giving you old news. This is from the December 27th, though. It's 2 days old, so it's not quite stone cold. Still kind of warm. Not like a piping hot meal, but, you know, not stone cold. All right. That's funny. Harvard churn, Lando fakes, and it has Elizabeth Warren as the Land O'Lakes Indian. 3.125% pure. Harvard churn. That is too funny. Okay, let's come up here. And brother of habitual liar Pocahontas, Warren, is reportedly furious over her lying about their dad's job. Pathological liar and Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren is at it again. The Boston Globe visited Oklahoma earlier this year seeking interviews with Warren's brother or their family members. Don Reed Herring came to the door in Newcastle, a medium-sized fluffy dog at his feet, and declined to comment. David Herring quickly shut the door, saying he could not speak as his golden retriever bounded around in the yard. John Herring answered his door in a t-shirt emblazoned with the word Boston, a dog with a brindle coat at his side, and said he was sorry he could not talk. He struck to his stance when the reporter pointed out Warren frequently discussed him on the campaign trail. "I know," he said. The brothers are private citizens entitled to private lives, and Warren says she has gotten their permission to talk about them. They notably appeared in a video meant to support her contention that the family has stories of distant Native American heritage, and they have not always been so press shy. In 2012, David gave an interview to a local magazine which wrote that he said he had to be careful about what he said so as not to upset his sister or the campaign. On the campaign trail, Warren speaks admiringly of her brother's military service and sometimes tells voters she has spoken with them on the phone. She also sometimes evokes them to suggest her ideas are not so polarizing. This weekend in Iowa, she made a point of saying they all agree, even though 2 of them are Republicans, that behemoths like Amazon do not pay enough in taxes. Mediate reports in recent weeks as Warren's polling numbers have dropped, she has altered her campaign strategy to show more of her personality, which means she may need her brothers more than ever. Her event on Sunday in a packed gymnasium ushered her biography ever more to the fore of the campaign that has long emphasized the heartland over Harvard. She wants to situate herself in the working class, not in the Ivy League professional upper middle class, said David Kuznets, a speechwriter for Bill Clinton, who recast his 1992 presidential campaign by branding him the man from hope. Her brothers, they are her siblings. They're a big part of the story. In her attempt to prove her Native American heritage, pathological liar Elizabeth Warren hired a genetic specialist to prove President Trump was falsely accusing her of lying. The DNA test was performed by a company founded by her ex-husband. The results were laughable, proving Warren was 1,024th Native American, proving she is actually less Indian than the average European American. Conservative Ashley St. Clair nailed it with this hilarious tweet. Elizabeth Warren claimed her father was a janitor to appeal to blue-collar Americans. Now her brother is furious because he claims their father was never a janitor. Maybe Elizabeth meant her father was 1,024th janitor. Yeah, that's probably what she meant. Sure, let's go with that. All right. Let's go back here, and I don't want to go too much longer because, time's a ticking. But I want to, some of this, like I said, is a little bit old, and I should have picked through it a little bit more. But let me see. Yes, let's look at this. I think this will infuriate some of you. And yeah. Oh, yes, I saw this. Pelosi humiliated as she gets trolled by a fan at a 49ers football game. I don't know if any of you saw that. I should go out and try to find it, the actual clip of it, so that you can see it. But anywho, if you ever wondered what socialists, this says China shows what socialist governments do to religious people as it orders changes made to Bible and Quran. Yeah. If you ever wondered what socialists and communists do when they come to power, you need to look no further than the People's Republic of China. What they're doing next follows an old doctrine of socialist and communist leaders eliminating religious texts. Well, many people, for thousands of years, really, at least a couple thousand, have tried to do away with the Bible, but they've never been able to succeed. But rather than outright banning them, they are taking another approach. They are changing the text of the Bible and Quran to support socialist and communist values. It is rather interesting that they would need to do that, as American liberals have been telling us for decades that Jesus was a socialist. Okay. If that were the case, why would China not only leave the Bible as it is, but have it in every school as mandatory reading? Simple, because nowhere in the Bible or the Quran is the idea of the state taking what people earn and redistributing it ever glorified as a good thing. The Communist Party that controls China did not mention the Bible and the Quran by name, but it did call for a comprehensive evaluation of the existing religious classics, aiming at contents which do not conform to the progress of the times. Yeah, they call that progress. The Daily Mail reported the order was given in November during a meeting held by the Committee for Ethnic and Religious Affairs of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, which oversees the ethnic and religious matters in China. A group of 16 experts, believers and representatives of different religions from the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China attended the conference in last month. It should be, well, anyway, should just be last month. According to Xinhua news agency. I mangled that probably. I know. The meeting was supervised by Wang Yang. Oh, I love that name. Wang Yang. Yeah, I really like that name, actually. Chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, Mr. Wang, stressed that religious authorities must follow President Xi's instruction and interpret the ideologies of different religions in accordance with the core values of socialism and the requirements of the era, French newspaper Le Figaro reported yesterday. In many ways, the Chinese government's control, including censorship of the Bible and the Quran, has twisted the doctrines of these religious texts and thus the religions. There is simply no genuine religious freedom, Patrick Poon, who is a China researcher at Amnesty International, said to the Mail. Leaked documents show that China has run a program to indoctrinate Muslims in the province of Xinjiang. Probably mangled that too. Experts at the United Nations have said that 1 million or more Muslims are being held in detention centers in the region. This is what socialism and communism bring. It starts with control of private industry and it keeps growing and growing until it controls even your mind. What Senator Bernie Sanders, New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and England's Jeremy Corbyn promote are the first baby steps of this type of government. No matter how good the promises of socialism appear to be when it starts, it is the end game that is frightening. Frightening indeed. All right, now, I'm not going to go I'm just going to hit on one more. I'm trying to pick here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. This stuff can wait. There's really a lot of this stuff now is oh yeah. This is interesting. Yeah. Let's go. Let's look at this. Yeah, this right here. Anti-Trump Pennsylvania man caught lying about voting for Trump in 2016. Pro-Democrat PAC refuses to take ad down. I think you'll find this interesting. This is from yesterday. The American Bridge PAC is a dirty pro-Democrat organization hell-bent on destroying Donald J. Trump and the Republican Party. They're so determined to destroy President Trump that they've created and produced videos in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania featuring blue-collar workers who either say they supported or voted for Trump in 2016. The goal, of course, is to put a dent in Trump's incredibly popular image with blue-collar voters in the must-win states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. There's a serious problem with at least one of their ads featuring a blue-collar voter from Erie, Pennsylvania. He's lying. The American Bridge video features Mark Graham, an Erie, Pennsylvania voter who claimed he voted for President Trump in 2016. Graham explains that he lives in the blue-collar town of Erie and explains that he voted for Trump in 2016 because he thought he would make a change. Graham is asked by the interviewer, did he make a change? Graham ignores the question and talks about how Trump's a bully. He continues, he doesn't understand life around here, adding, if I could go back in time, I would tell myself to beware of the changes Trump made, saying voting for Donald Trump in 2020 would be like putting gasoline on the fire. What fire exactly is Graham referring to in the video? Curiously, by the end of the video, Graham still can't name a single example of a change Trump made that harmed the community. There's one more issue with the ad. A conservative group did some investigating, and it turns out that according to voting records, Mr. Graham never even voted in 2016. Yeah. And it says, according to Penn Live, the ads are part of a $5 million advertising campaign being waged by American Bridge in the key swing states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The ad began running in the Erie area in November. Earlier this month, Erie area news organization Jet24 checked county voting records and discovered Graham didn't vote in 2016. In a subsequent interview, Graham told Erie News now he's a registered Republican who participated in a focus group involving Republicans who supported Democrat Ron DeNicola in his unsuccessful 2018 run for U.S. Congress. Graham told the focus group re-electing Trump would be like throwing gasoline on a fire. That led to the New York Times featuring Graham in 2 stories about dissatisfied Trump voters and swing voters, and apparently to him being contacted by American Bridge. The New York Times has attached corrections to both stories, stating it confirmed Graham did not vote in the election. Graham has said his statements in the ad reflect his true feelings about Trump. Sure they do. For money. For money, you can make anybody have an opinion about anything, don't you think? Well, not everyone. There are people with principles, but obviously this man has none. The Republican Party of Pennsylvania has called for American Bridge to take down the ad and apologize. The ad is false, its premise is false, and its messenger has been discredited. State GOP Chairman Lawrence Tabas said in a news release the organization could easily have determined that Graham had not voted in 2016 by checking the publicly available records at the Erie County, Pennsylvania, or the Erie County Elections Office. As of Thursday morning, the ad remains on the American Bridge website, apparently in original form. Yeah, so I'm not going to get into the rest of this, but yeah, there you go. The Dems. Can't trust them. Okay, now that is it for tonight. It is getting late and I don't want to, well, it's after 12, so, you know, I'm probably going to turn into something. I don't know. Or we could just wait around to see what I turn into. No, that's not a good idea. You need to get to bed. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. You stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. Good night, guys.